Moses has an unexpected reaction to a burning bush coming up on the Accessible Faith Project. Hi there, I'm John and welcome to the Accessible Faith Project. If you're new here and looking for insights into the Bible, faith, and history in ways that engage your brain, then please hit subscribe and that little bell icon so you receive a notification every time I upload a new video. As we continue social distancing, I've been using the Accessible Faith Project to provide worship and devotional resources in addition to my educational videos. This one is a sermon, but as with most of my offerings, learning a little bit of history goes a long way. You've chosen the wrong messenger. Send someone else. Wow, what a letdown. After all of this, all that Moses can say is, please, Lord, send somebody else. The Exodus story has so many layers of meaning that I could write a sermon every week for years and not run out of ideas. In this video, I'm only exploring one of them, I promise. As powerful as this story is, we often forget the bits and pieces that bring it down to earth. As much as Moses is the hero, he is also a human being like you or me. Every time that we place Moses or any other character from the Bible up on a pedestal, we do them and ourselves a disservice. Making them out to be somehow more than human puts a comfortable barrier between God and us. It denies the possibility that God could call anyone to do something extraordinary. But that's where we are. The story begins with Moses wandering out in the wilderness of the Sinai Peninsula. He was living a comfortable life, tending to the sheep of Jethro, his father-in-law. His was a safe life, a happy life, far from the troubles that he once struggled with growing up in Egypt. He grew up in the royal court of Pharaoh, and Moses was a Hebrew who lived free while the rest of his people were enslaved. The problem seemed so enormous, so impossible, there wasn't anything that he could do. But in frustration and attempting to do something, Moses kills an Egyptian while defending a Hebrew slave. And fearing that he had made things worse, Moses flees into the wilderness of Midian. Here he finds shelter with a group of nomads. He finds a home, marries Jethro's daughter Zipporah, and has a son. And this was his life now. And Egypt? Far behind him. One would think that the story would have ended there. For Moses, it's a happily ever after kind of moment, but God was up to something. After all, the Israelites still languished in slavery in Egypt, and for the one person who saw that the problem was too big, God had something new in store. When we encounter Moses in this story, he is herding sheep in the wilderness. It is a day like any other, but today's path unconsciously takes him near the foot of a unique mountain, Horeb, also known as Sinai, the mountain of God. Moses sees something in the distance, something odd, a bush entirely engulfed in flame, and yet not a leaf, not a berry is consumed. Intrigued, Moses decides to take a second look. The flames quietly dance around the leaves, and since nothing is burning, no gases are escaping, that familiar crackle and roar that one would expect from a fire aren't there, and the smells that we associate with a fire aren't there. The bush silently bends and shifts as the glowing fire gently caresses its leaves. The light of the fire shimmers on the hillside, playing tricks with the shadows. Moses hears his name, someone calling to him, and the voice gently washes over him like a wave. It is neither booming nor faint, neither a shout nor a whisper. The voice resonates deep within his soul, and without knowing what he is getting into, Moses steps forward. "Here I am," he says. And the voice echoes again. "Come no closer, remove the sandals from your feet, for you are standing on holy ground." "Who are you?" Moses wonders aloud. "I am the God of your ancestors, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob." And the sandals come off, and in the next moment, Moses dissolves into a quivering heap, trying to handle being in the presence of God. And all the while, God explains how he has heard the cries of the Israelites in their oppression under Pharaoh. God has heard them, and now it is time for action. And Moses will be the one to go to Egypt, to stand up to Pharaoh and demand the captives' release. And this is a huge lead up, and these are grandiose plans. And how does Moses reply? "You've chosen the wrong messenger. In the biblical account, Moses says, please, Lord, send someone else. I mean, wow, what a letdown. And after all this, all Moses can say is, please, send someone else. It seems as if that God's first obstacle is Moses himself. And for every call that God makes to Moses, Moses tries to wriggle his way out of it. Moses asks, why me? Why do I have to go back to a place that I left long ago? Why do I have to stand up in front of Pharaoh? I'm only one man. What can I do? And God replies, I will be with you. And the conversation continues. God tells Moses the plan, and Moses keeps trying to back out of it. God gives him some pretty substantial party tricks to make the message more convincing, and yet after all that is said and done, Moses continues his litany of excuses. They won't believe me. I don't speak well. I'm not up for this. Please send somebody else. Hardly inspirational, isn't it? Here we have one of the greatest names of the faith, someone who comes face to face with God, and God calls Moses to free the people of Israel and hands God a laundry list and reasons why he can't go and why somebody else is better suited for the job. Moses doesn't want to go back to Egypt. He sees himself as an outcast. He doesn't belong anymore, and yet he is the very person that God wants to go and to free the slaves. Send someone else. Others are better than I am. I can't make a difference, he says. But God begs to differ. We are a lot more like Moses than we'd care to admit. Moses is a lot like you and me. He's a regular human being who is comfortable. He doesn't like change. He doesn't want change. He wants things to be comfortable and okay. But God begs to differ. Moses will lead the Israelites out of Egypt. Moses will find the courage to stand up, to look the oppressor in the eye and say, let my people go. As much as God calls Moses, Moses does have a choice. He can and does say, not me, several times. But God is persistent, and for every excuse that Moses puts forward, God counters it. At last, all the excuses, all those reasons to say no turn to dust. And Moses realizes his calling. He picks up his staff and begins his journey to Egypt. So what about us? Moses had the benefit of coming face to face with the living God, and he still said, send someone else. It would stand to reason that our own faith experiences are not nearly that earth-shattering, so it seems more comfortable for us when we say, send someone else. When God calls us to make a difference in our communities, we say, send someone else. Hey, I'm even ready to pay someone else to do this stuff for me. We live in a time where it is common practice to pay someone else to do ministry for us. Yet God calls each of us with our unique gifts and skills to make a difference. And like Moses, God calls each of us to make a difference where we are. But like Moses, we are also very tempted to say, please send someone else. We've also placed too much of an expectation that our encounters and experiences of God need to be what Moses experienced. Maybe it makes it easier for us to say to God, please send someone else, when we've not had something that looks like a big film production. But get this, even with a burning bush and a powerful voice, Moses still cries, send someone else. The fact is, at some point or another, we have all had profound experiences of the holy, whether we know it or not. We just haven't been that good at recognizing it. And even if we do, we are afraid to share it. Maybe we're afraid that people won't listen, that they won't understand, that others would make fun of us for sharing these profound life-changing moments. Fortunately, God keeps working away at us, offering words of assurance and promise. I will be with you, God says. That isn't just to Moses, but to every one of us. Now, we may not be called to lead people to the promised land, but each of us has something unique to offer. At our best, we listen to what God has to say and get a chance to see for ourselves for the potential that God sees in us. Despite all of our misgivings, God can and does work miracles through each and every one of us. At least let's give God the benefit of the doubt and not be so quick to say, send someone else. After all, if you and I are a lot more like Moses than we realize, it is worth wondering what God truly has in store for us and seeing where it may lead. Amen.